Okay, my parents aren't home, so I can finally record the audio now. I'm recording it before 400, obviously, because like I don't know when the next time I'm gonna get the chance to record it. So yeah. So yeah. Just to be warned, this is NSFW. If you are like younger than 13, I do advise like maybe clicking off the video. But who am I to talk on most of 13? So all right. Um, yeah. We'll start here. So holy Jesus. All right. All right. Ray is an 18-year-old high school senior. As a valedictorian of a class, she was chosen to engage in her school's government-funded Sky Striker Race program. Currently, Ray is the only one enrolled in the program. This works in Ray's favor. However, because she does not enjoy working and cooperating with others, and only does so if absolutely necessary. I think I misread something there, but yeah, we'll continue on. The object of the experimental Sky Striker Race program is to produce a young soldier capable of withstanding long battles on their own with aid of newfound technology. Using a sword as a control device to speak, Rey can project solid vision armor suits onto her body, each of which has different advantages in battle. Solid vision technology has advanced to the point where the armor suits do not behave like mere projections, but are indistinguishable from real armor. In addition, they do not utilize conventional energy sources. Race suits are primarily powered by life energy. I can't stop laughing. Oh, so sorry. After years of research by the engineers working at Hercules Space, they have concluded that male semen is the most effective life source to power the armor suits. Uh, Mind you, we're only in the first paragraph. Consequently, several measures have been taken to allow Ray's consistent consumption of both semen on and off the battlefield. Um, as part of, while resting at Hercules Space, she imbibes a dosage of semen with every meal. This semen is sourced from male prisoners of war who are held captive at the base. After several weeks of Ray complaining about the unusual taste, the engineers managed to create a specialized diet for the prisoners of wars in order to elicit a strawberry-like flavored in their semen, which Ray quite enjoys. The details of this unique diet have not been released to anyone outside the engineering team. As part of the program, Ray is also trained by her professionals to vastly improve her sexual skills. In order to facilitate her self-sufficient in extracting semen from other men, as a result of this training and some natural talent, Ray's sexual skills, especially her vaginal skills, are unmatched. I'm so sorry. This is something that she takes a lot of pride in and often boasts about. Specifically, Ray has now masterful control over her vaginal muscles. While milking a man, she can modify his experience through various means such as contracting and expanding her vagina at will, changing the textures of the walls inside, or manipulating temperature, among others. Ray also has several sexual techniques that she commonly uses. One is a torture technique in which she contracts her vagina so much that the male semen physically is incapable of leaving his member. She keeps this up until her victim begs to be released from the discomfort of their backed up milk. Another technique involves Ray stripping in front of the male man to entice them, only to ambush with a surprise attack from her. Although this technique does not fool experienced soldiers, she enjoys using it to take advantage of young boys. Even the conclusion of her training, Ray likes to practice new techniques taught by her and her mother on the prisoners of war. Currently, the Skystriker Ace engineering team have developed 3 solid vision armor suits fit for different battle scenarios. Kagari, an offense-oriented suit, which uses afterburners to increase Rey's physical power substantially. This allows her to overpower most adversaries until she can pin them down and retract Kagari's skirt to reveal her vagina for milking. Shizuku is a defense-oriented suit, which allows its jamming waves to weaken all the enemies in a large radius. Great for crowd controls, it gives Rei ample time to milk the men who approach her using the realistic on-hole equipment to Shizuki's left arm, which is modeled after Rei's own vagina. Hayate is a long-range suit, which allows her to milk men from miles away by firing a guided anal hole missile at the man that automatically contracts and expands once the member is inserted. I think this was written before Rose, and I know there's like a Rose chapter as well. But as when the first chapter was written, I don't think Kaino was out yet. In addition to her armor suits, Rey is provided with several other supplementary tools. Among them, the engineers produced an achievement is the Hornet. The engineering team's proudest achievement is the Hornet drones. The Hornet drones are capable of projecting near-perfect solid vision facsimils. I'm not sure what that word is. Of Rey, and can also project armor suits onto themselves. They even share most of the same sexual skills as Rey, though the use of AI makes them great for milking many men at once. Unfortunately for the Hornet drones, took the longest to develop, since simulating Rey's sexual skills with AI is proved to be a daunting task. Despite sampling Rey many times, the engineers also have encountered many bugs throughout the process, but most of the high-priority issues have been resolved, most embarrassing of which involves 2 drones detecting and attempting to rape each other, and disadvantage to the drones is that they're I can't read expressionless. With the problem because Rey has many fanatics at her school who enjoy watching the live stream of her and her missions. Emptying disappointments of the drone aren't nearly as entertaining to watch. So this one seems to be a little bit shorter. But yeah, okay. Right. During peacetimes, Rey does not conduct any missions for the government, but she does continue trading as part of the Sky Striker Ace program. Consequently, she has a lot more leisure time to do whatever entertains her. As much as Rey would like to spend her time with her mother, Reyna, during her free time, Reyna is usually not at home, supposedly looking for a new husband ever since Rey's father died on the battlefield over a decade ago. Rey does not have any friends at school, either because of how much her school time is spent on the Sky Striker Ace program, where she only interacts with government officials, engineers, military officers. Therefore, Rey looks for enjoyable activities she can do on her own. Wink, wink. As a method of increasing funds for the program, engineering team has developed customized non-combat versions of the Hornet drones for commercial use by advertising and entertaining companies. These commercial Hornet drones are primarily used as replacements for human models and performers, and also have propaganda for the Sky Striker Race program, since the drone shares Rey's likeness. In particular, Rey has Rey has taken an interest in the recent Trickstar concerts, which make use of the Hornet drones as backup dancers for the Trickstars. Although she has attended the concerts for the idol groups in the past and enjoyed them, Rey thinks they are a waste of time because the males who attend the concerts usually have low quality semen, so raping them for nourishment is not worth the time. However, Rey's inherent feminine nature makes her curious to see what she would look like as an on-stage performer. At the concert, Rey immediately notices the Hornet drones dancing in sync with the Trickstars and wearing different outfits reminiscent of the iconic Trickstar style. Drones look exceptionally pretty, almost to the point where Rey is jealous of the solid vision projections of herself. But more importantly, Ray is particularly entranced by the trick star named Lily Bell. Among the main groups of trick stars, Candina, Licorice, Lily Bell, and Holy Angel, Lily Bell is the youngest and least experienced of the four. In addition to being the least experienced as a performer, she is also the least experienced while backstage. Although the trick star producers explicitly forbid intimate relationships, the other trick stars blatantly disregard this rule by happily accepting gifts or money from fans in exchange for sexual favors. Nothing is off limits for Candina, Licorice, and Holy Angel, including having unprotected sex with their fans. Ever since joining the group, witnessing these acts have immensely fired up Lily Bell's sexual desires, but disobeying authority is also something that terrifies her. Eventually, she was able to rationalize a compromise in her head in which she provides sexual favors to fans but restricts herself to blowjobs as a means of maintaining her virginity. Despite not offering as many types of favors as the others, Lily Bell's pro jobs are very popular. She has a natural talent for deep throating and maneuvering her tongue around the man's member. In addition, as a man ejaculates, Lily inserts his penis in as deep into her mouth as possible, such that the semen is injected straight into her throat, and contractions of her esophagus as she swallows are especially pleasurable to the man. By the end of the concert, Ray is enamored by Lily Bell's cute charm and seemingly innocent persona. As a benefit to the Trickstars, production company purchased the commercial Hornet drones. Ray has free backstage access to all the concerts. The fact that she can meet Lily Bell right then and there flares up Ray's desire to express her affection towards her. However, Ray has developed sadistic tendencies as a result of her experience raping soldiers on the battlefield, so her methods of expressing affection might seem questionable to an outside observer. By the end of the third Trickstar concert that Ray attended, she has caught wind of the sexual favors of the Trickstars offer backstage, and proceed to line up with the fans. As Ray gets her chance to be alone with Lily Bell, she cannot contain herself and immediately kisses Lily Bell while materializing one of Kagari's arms as a way of ripping off her clothes and physically restraining her. Ray uses her other arm to finger Lily Bell's vagina, and she keeps this up for almost 2 hours. During the time, Lily Bell orgasms 23 times. Despite the amount of tears flowing across her face from this encounter, she derived a matchless form of pleasure from Ray's abuse. After several weeks, this has become a regular routine for Ray and Lily Bell, but Ray is always looking to increase the intensity of their encounters. Although the experience is very pleasurable for Lily Bell, she still sheds tears during the act. This excites Ray greatly. Ray started by programming a dildo attached onto Shizuku's arm that she can restrain Lily Bell with Kagari's arm and molest her with Shizuku's. This took her several weeks to accomplish though since her programming skills are below average compared to that of the software developers on Sky Striker Ace's engineering team. Later, she decided to increase her own sexual pleasures for a session with Lily Bell by programming a double-sided dildo attached to the underside of Kagari's shirt. The other Trick stars have started to worry about Lily Bell because Ray's repeated abuse has started to physically injure Lily Bell's vagina. Oh, jeez. The things I do. Well, I mean, I guess I came up with this idea, but I actually might be starting to regret it. But I've already read 2 chapters, only 3 to go. No point in looking back now. And I'm sorry for like the list. Like I mean, as I'm reading this, I'm like smiling at how at what I'm reading and what I'm doing. And that's caused the room for my tongue to move around to be a lot more smaller. But yeah, Let's move on to the next chapter. Jesus, what am I doing? Okay, chapter 3. This one is a little bit longer. But yeah. So, in the past couple, I've already fucked up. In the past couple of months, Ray has been attending all the Trickstar concerts around her area, and she's been growing more and more disappointed with them. Not because of lackluster performance from the Trickstars, but because of Lilybell's absence from many of the recent ones. Ray's abuse towards Lilybell has caused excessive vaginal tearing, and the other members insisted that she undergo medical treatment before she goes back on stage. This is a source of great sexual frustration for Ray, much more than she's ever since beginning the Sky Striker Race program. She's desperately been looking for an outlet for her frustration for several days now. Although raping young boys from local high schools and middle schools is always an option for her, it does not satisfy her. Raping strangers is a regular activity for her as part of the Sky Striker Race program, so it feels impersonal and routine to be sufficient stress reliever for Ray. Consequently, Ray has started paying more attention to a younger brother. Jesus fucking Christ. Raiden is 7 years younger than Ray and was born a year after Ray's father left to fight in the war where he eventually died. It wasn't until 5 years ago that Ray thought about this sequence of events and realized that her and Raiden couldn't possibly have the same father. Jesus. Oh no. Of course, this meant Ray's mother, Raina, was seeing other men even before Ray's father died, and led Ray to believe that her search for a new husband was a false pretense. Ever since then, Ray has ignored and resented Raiden, since he represents the embodiment of what she dislikes about her mother. In reality, Raina originally had no intention of giving birth to Raiden, but she ultimately decided to go through with it since she would receive more government benefits as a single mother of multiple children instead of a single child. Jesus. Oh my god. Oh. Alright. At this point, the unease that Ray had been feeling is now unbearable, so she decided to follow Raiden into the bathroom. As he's taking a shower, Ray quickly strips her clothes at the same time as Raiden and catches him off guard. While her sudden embrace, with her sudden embrace, before Raiden can even perceive the gentle touch of Ray's nipples on his back, she uses Kagari's strength for a split second to force him onto the floor in a sitting position. Then she takes out a short blade on Shizuku's left arm and holds it up to his neck to prevent him from trying to escape. Raiden sits completely still as a single drop of blood flows from his neck. Now that Ray's preparations are complete, the two naked hornet drones split into her outstretched right hand, and she roughly spreads her saliva across his penis. Despite the blatant threat of Shizuku's blade making Raiden fear for his life, he cannot prevent the male instincts from erecting his member upon the skilled touch of his older half-sister. Once the semen dispenser is prepared, Ray molds her hand to conform to Raiden's shape. Specifically, she focuses on caressing his glans with her thumb and teasing his frenulum. I've never heard of that thing. With the tip of her index finger, as she simultaneously pleasures and as simultaneous pleasure and panic. Molter creates a confusing dissonance in Raiden's head. Oh my god, I'm so sorry I butchered that. A hornet drone grabs him by his hair and pulls his head back. Ray then forcibly inserts her tongue into Raiden's mouth. Her aggressive kiss injects a new sensation into his mind as Ray's tongue wraps and spirals around Raiden, creating a helix of pleasure tasting of sweet nectar. Unsurprisingly, Ray's handjob is very unforgiving and sends Raiden over the edge in less than 2 minutes. Ray feels a slight twitch, signaling Raiden's explosion, and accordingly cups her hands over his glands to capture every milliliter of semen that gets released. Ray is somewhat impressed by the amount of semen that she got to feast on from only her handjob, and quickly slurps every last drop. Raiden watches from above. Now that Ray is especially excited, she steps away from his back and faces him directly as the Hornet drone uses Kagari's hand to hold Raiden by the neck and force his whole body onto the floor. Ray's Ray kneels down in front of Raiden and spreads her lips to give him the idea of what his penis will be experiencing next. Just as Ray inserts Raiden into her vagina, the second Hornet drone kneels down on top of him, rubbing her vagina his face across his face. Ray's Tier 1 vagina mesmerizes Raiden and immediately makes him feel like he's going to come again. At the same time, he starts licking the second Hornet drone's vagina due to its irresistible feminine scent. It only took a minute this time. Raiden is about to get milked again, but just before he realizes, Ray completely contracts her vagina to the point where the semen cannot physically travel through his urethra. The sudden backup of semen sends a fierce jolt of pain towards Raiden's waist, and he was not prepared for while stuck in Ray's vaginally induced trance. Ray continues by pistoning his penis even faster, unleashing her full semen sucking capabilities. In addition, the first Hornet drone joins in by licking and sucking Raiden's nipples, while he is also inserted by Hayate's left index finger into his anus to massage his prostate. Periodically, the first Hornet drone uses Hayate's finger to send him into an electric shock towards Raiden's prostate. Every time this stimulus brings Raiden over the edge, immediately and Ray fully contracts before any semen can exit. The pain from each of these backed up ejaculations causes Raiden to cry, and because of it, the second Hornet drones would sometimes temporarily stop her face sitting so he can lick up all the tears off his face. Raiden was forced through another 12 backed up ejaculations. After the first one, Ray allowed him to finally release. At that moment, Raiden's mind was insane with pleasure and instinctually thrusted his hips violently. The immense pleasure was too much for Raiden, causing him to pass out seconds after dispensing the rest of his semen. The next day, Ray was noticeably more cheerful and relaxed. What am I doing? I'm starting to question if I should post this anymore. Oh my god. Okay. I guess on to the next chapter. Okay, so this will be the last chapter. There is only one chapter that features Rose, but I will be saving that for for 420. Yeah, I'll save it for 420. Because I guess that's the next milestone, I guess. I'm so sorry, and I feel so uncomfortable, but I'll do it. I think it's a little bit funny. But I don't know. Yeah. Okay, no, I'll just start. After a couple of weeks of Raiden getting brutally raped by Ray, Raiden was at risk of death from all the abuse. Ray's mother Reina noticed and told Ray to take it easy on Raiden for a little while because she would lose a portion of the government benefits if Raiden died, and she was now a single mother of one child instead of two. As much as Ray dislikes Raiden, along with her mother's decision to not abort him, she understands why Reina needs to keep him around. Consequently, Ray started exploring poorer areas of surrounding neighborhoods that she has not visited yet, looking for young boys around the same age as Raiden. Usually, Ray looks in neighborhoods that have elementary or middle schools nearby, but her curiosity compelled her to look in one of the poor neighborhoods with no nearby schools. Her idea was to find lost homeless boys who nobody would come looking for if they went missing. Eventually, Ray finds a boy walking around by himself. His clothes and hair looked unusual to her. Regardless, she walks up to him and asks him what he's doing by himself while putting a helpful big sister persona. The boy's name was Droll, and he told Ray that he was searching for his missing Lockbird. Joel and Lockbird, if no one knew. The hand trap, the spiral killer. Like, you just activate it and you just pause. Um, Ray offered to help Ray offered to help and led him down an alleyway between two buildings. Halfway through the alleyway, Ray quickly pins Strolls to the ground and rips off his clothes with her bare hands, and immediately starts raping him, with the same penis constriction method that she loved to use on Raiden. After only 3 backed-up ejaculations, Droll passes out with a mixture of pain and pleasure. But Ray continues raping his unconscious body. An hour later, another person steps into the alleyway at the opposite end. He was a dual-colored hair, wearing an occultish garb, along with holding a long staff in one hand and a book in the other. His name was Alistair. Upon seeing Troll's limp body getting raped by Ray, he used one hand to shove Ray away from Droll while she was not paying attention, causing Ray to fall to the ground. Ray noticed that Alistair's shove was way too strong for even an above-average person. So she immediately engaged into her Shizuku armor and tries to use her jamming waves to weaken Alistair. What Ray didn't realize is Alistair. By the way, it's Alistair the Invoker. Alistair is an experienced spellcaster. In fact, the existence of magic and spellcasters is completely unknown to Ray and about 99.9% of the civilian population, and their existence is only talked about through conspiracy theorists. Alistair specializes in invocation magic, which allowed him to invoke the powers of mythological beings or objects by reacting to the elemental affinities of the individual around him. I can't read this. Like not that I can't, but I've been stuffing up a lot of words. Despite elemental affinity being a fundamentally magical concept, Alistair can sense trace amounts of water affinity in Shizuku. This is because the military and Sky Striker Race engineering team do know about the existence of magic, and a portion of the power from Ray's armor suits is derived from synthetically engineered pseudo-magical energy, which gives her armor suit its own elemental affinity. The engineering team, however, is not close to completely emulating real magical energy. Thus, Ray has no aptitude for spellcasting and is ill-equipped to fight a spellcaster. Only seconds after turning on her jamming waves, the air around Ray drops to below freezing temperatures. Shizuku's body is quickly encased with frigid ice from the rivers of Cocytus. Oh, that it's invoked Cocytus. If you didn't know, there's a reference. It's pretty cool. Oh wow, this is really long. From the river, forged from the tears of those she wronged. To Ray's surprise, she struggled to break free from the magical ice. Even though her armor suit would normally have no troubles with shattering simple ice, instead Ray quickly stretches into a Gigari to try and melt the ice instead. Ray notices that the ice instantaneously disappears without leaving behind any water vapor. This surprises Alistair, since in the majority of cases a person either has exactly one elemental affinity or none at all, in case of normal civilians. Ray takes advantage of this opportunity by igniting Kagari's sword with her afterburners and throwing the sword straight towards Alistair. The exact moment in which Kagari's sword is thrown, a wall made by the flames of Gehenna rises from the ground in front of Alistair. Gagari's sword is unable to pierce the flames, and her sword shatters upon contact with the wall. Then Ray gets surrounded by flames of Gehenna, and she notices 3 demons behind her. One demon binds both Kagari's legs, and the other grabs one of Kagari's arms and starts pulling. At the same time, Ray starts experiencing strange, unpleasant visions and stares at the hellfire. That's a reference because if you see in the artwork of Invoked Perverted Trio, there's like one of the demons holding his legs, and the other one's like grabbing his arm. So yeah. Just like with the Ice of Gokaitis, she cannot break free from the binding of the 3 arm-starting demons. So her last option is switching to a different armor suit. Shizuku will just give Alistair access to Gokaitis again. So she switches into Hayate, which completely dissipates the 3 demons and the walls of flames. She then deploys 4 Hornet drones, transforming into 2 Shizukus and 2 Gagaris to try and overwhelm Alistair, but it was no use. Alistair can invoke the abilities of multiple enemies at once. Shizukus are instantly encased in ice from Gokaitis, and the Kagaris are instantly engulfed in hellfire. Since that didn't help, Ray flies into the air directly above the alleyway and prepares Hayate's cannon. Aims at Alistair below and fires Hayate's vectored blast. Once Alistair notices, he defends with a spell wall, at the same time utilizing Hayate's wind affinity to launch his finishing counterattack. Dark clouds form above Ray, and she is immediately struck with the Thunder God's Judgment. I think that's meant to be a reference to Solemn Judgment, but I'm not sure. Ray passes out from the sudden shock and falls down onto the ground in the alleyway without her armor suit. That night, Ray wakes up naked. I just gotta scroll down. Wakes up naked in Alistair's home and notices him in front of her. Naturally, Ray wants to escape, but she notices that she does not have her sword, meaning she cannot transform. So Ray runs up and tries to punch him. Alistair counters by casting his spellbook of power to heighten his physical strength. Gripping her fist with his hand, Alistair's extremely powerful grip breaks all the bones in Ray's hand. Ray's left fingers sending an incredible jolt of pain into her. She perseveres though, going for a roundhouse kick. The same with her right foot. Alistair counters the kick by blocking with his other hand, breaking Ray's ankle. Not even a broken hand and broken ankle convinces Ray to give up, so Alistair casts a spell from the Spellbook of Life that causes Ray to experience an extreme feeling of sexual arousal. You couldn't just, make her, pass out. She has to, oh, God. Extreme feeling of sexual arousal. She loses her balance and trips and finally loses her desire to fight back. Alistair explains to her that he is Droll's guardian and her abuse caused a lot of physical and mental damage to Droll. That will take a day or two for him to repair. Therefore, Alistair will not let Ray go free until she can pay him back for all the lost time. Rather than having Ray pay him back with money, Alistair will make her help out with the business in an underground market located under Alistair's neighborhood. He dresses her up in a cat-themed lingerie with an artificial tail and cat ears before getting ready to go to the underground with her. In addition to Ray, Alistair also leaves the market along with 3 other small girls, all blinded with fiendish chains that he named Ogre, Reaper, and Ash. That's obviously Ghost Ogre. Winter Cherries, Reaper of Winter Cherries, or whatever it's called, and Ash Blossom. Ray still does not know that what Alistair's business entails. She is confused as to the purpose of the three girls. Once Alistair and the other girls arrive to the underground market, he sets up his table, and the market is filled with many strange-looking individuals operating their business, from tables or booths, along with many equally strange-looking customers. Alistair explains to Ray that he operates a prostitution business where he sells the bodies of Ogre, Reaper, and Ash. The three of them are spiritual beings that Alistair managed to capture while also magically suppressing most of their abilities. Each of them have their own charm points, which makes them popular with Alistair's customers. Ogre is only one arm. Wait, does Ogre have one arm? Give me a sec. I just want to check. Okay, so Ghost Ogre does appear to have two arms, but in the original artwork, which I'm guessing is when this was written, it doesn't show her second arm. Like in the alt artwork, you see two hands, but I'm guessing that's where he got it. And now I have to find where I left off. Okay, this looks fun. Okay, each of them have their own charm, which makes them popular with Alistair's customers. Ogre has only one arm, which allows customers experience sense of power over her by having doggy-style sex with her. This forces Ogre to prop herself up with the single arm. Ash's unusually large forehead, which makes her blowjobs very popular since a lot of customers are amazed with how much semen she can fit into her face. Customers have taken a liking to Reaper's deadpan and apathetic attitude towards the situation, and many of them ask for foot jobs from her. She also has a convenient ability that allows Alistair to blacklist troublesome customers. As a bonus, these three girls have a range of elemental affinities, just in case if anybody instigates a conflict with Alistair. Along with Alistair, there are several other prostitution businesses in the underground market. One is ran by a young man named Valor. Unlike Alistair, Valor works alone and prostitutes himself. Despite being a male, he dresses as an angelic being that has an overwhelming feminine charm over male customers, with a beauty that even rivals Ray's beauty. I mean, I don't think so. Most of Veilers or Vealers, goddamn troglodytes out there, Vealer, why would you call it Vealer? Customers enjoy anal sex with him, and Vaylor maintains the illusion of having sex with a beautiful angel by never exposing his penis or scrotum. Vaylor defends himself by secreting an essence that temporarily inhibits the ability of people to he gets intimate with. I guess that's like a reference to like how he negates the abilities. That's pretty cool. Alistair's noticed the popularity of Valor and captured Droll in order to make him his first male prostitute. Although Droll has some effeminate qualities, they do not compare to Valor's. So far, Droll has not been nearly as popular for Alistair's customers as Ogre, Reaper, or Ash. Rumors suggest that Valor is a fallen angel, but most believe he's just a very experienced spellcaster. Alright. After only a couple of minutes, customers start lining up to receive the usual sexual services from Ogre, Reaper, and Ash. Alistair's customers base in primarily interesting Alistair's customer base is primarily interested in the younger girls, so Ray has to wait half an hour until someone shows up and requests Ray. This customer is another male prostitute who is currently on a break and belongs to a group of male prostitutes cosplaying as various trick stars. This one specifically was cosplaying as Candina, and at first Ray was confused at why a girl would request for her. Ray quickly realized that the Candina cosplayer was male when he exposed his penis. Ray estimated to be around 11 inches long. Jesus Christ, it's like my water bottle. Oh God. Candina goes behind Ray, and with a surprising amount of strength, he tears off Ray's black panties and forcefully inserts himself into Ray's vagina. However, Ray experienced an unusual searing pain from the insertion that she has never felt before. As Candina furiously pounds into Ray's honeypot, she notices blood on the ground right between her and notices that it's coming from her vagina. Alistair mentions to her that this is even more convenient for Alistair because he can use another spell to collect the bloodshed, which is important because some of Alistair's experiments require blood of a virgin. Ray experienced a similar pain when she ordinarily lost her virgin when she originally lost her virginity at the age of 13 by taking advantage of one of her classmates. Oh, Jesus Christ. Because of Candina's pounding along with Ray being forced to stand on a broken ankle, she is helpless to prevent the tears from flowing down her face. An hour later, Candina is finally satisfied after having given Ray 19 cream pies. Ray is completely exhausted and falls to the ground, leaving a puddle of semen and leftover traces of her vaginal blood. Alistair's prostitutes usually do not have to require stamina to withstand the entire day's worth of sex. Wait, no. Alistair's prostitutes usually do not have to require the stamina to withstand the entire day's worth of sex. Okay, no, so I read it right. So he solves this by no. So they can't withstand the entire day. So he solves this by force feeding them stim packs to them which he obtains from a potion dealer named Slacker, and does exactly that to Ray. After she falls over, Candina tells the other male Trickstar cosplayer about Ray. In a couple of hours, Candina shows up along with 4 other men in his group. The 2 of them are cosplaying as Licorice, while the other are cosplaying as Lilybell and Holy Angel. Okay, last 2 paragraphs. Rather than taking turns with Ray, the 5 male Trickstars decide to leave her services to all of them for the next several hours. The 3 of them engage in vaginal, anal, and oral sex with Ray, while both Licorice cosplayers receive handjobs from Ray. The prolonged simultaneous rape of each one of Ray's possible holds completely numbs her mind and leaves only a blank stare in her eyes and tears on her cheeks. While stim packs prevent her from passing out, forcing her to experience every last minute, once the Trickstars were finished, they had ejaculated onto her or inside her a total of 183 times. Oh my god. Ray fell over again with semen leaking from every opening and her hair completely covered in dry semen. But now unconscious at this point, business is done for today. Alistair takes Ray, Ogre, Reaper, and Ash back to his home. When Ray wakes up the next morning, she's back at Alistair's home wearing her school uniform, with semen gone from her hair and body. She also does not have a broken ankle or broken fingers anymore. Alistair tells her that she has now repaid the damage from raping Joel, so he healed her injuries and returned her vagina to its proper virginal state. He gives back Ray's sword, and then she leaves his house without much trouble. When Ray gets back home, the first thing she does is rape Raiden to ensure that her vagina is back to normal. So yeah, that's it for this video. Oh my god, I regret making this. Nah, but it's funny. It's funny. I guess I'll still post it anyway. I really hope you enjoyed. I really don't have much to say. But yeah. I probably won't leave a link to it in the description if you want the original. Oh wow, went for 21 minutes. If you want the original, then just DM me on Instagram or something, and I'll give you a link there. My throat hurts a lot now after like an hour of speaking. Um, yeah, that's it. Stay fresh. Bye. This is like after I recorded the audio for the 400 follow special, and first of all, I do want to thank you for 400 followers. But this also complicates a little bit of things. Like, some YouTubers, like, they won't show their face because, like, their content they do is sketchy. I'm lucky enough to be doing content about Yu-Gi-Oh, which isn't sketchy, but, I think I just may ruin that, for me. Um, uh, I mean, yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say. Stay fresh again, I guess.